The sheer level of excitement Tony Crawford has for themes of his advantage is coordinated just by the volume with which he anticipates his feeling, and couple of autos have lit such a fire under Tony lately as much as the 2018 Hyundai i30N did a year ago after its global dispatch. The more the Aussie i30N uncovers itself, the more inquiries raised. We asked you, by means of Facebook, what you needed to know preceding nearby dispatch and discharge, and the torrential slide of correspondence with questions we particularly and separately replied in our related video piece you'll discover here. Constantly versatile suspension, electromechanical LSD, dynamic fumes, with electronic sound age and N-mode reverse discharge on downshifts, rev coordinating, dispatch control, electronic move lights, underbody support and back, removable, firmness bar, bespoke rack-mounted and variable electronic power controlling, particularly created tires, onboard race-style telemetry and 5 selectable drive modes, including an custom mode where 7 distinct frameworks can be separately designed into a conceivable 1944 diverse Taylor-influenced mixes. To name anything with such go-quick rigging for a tenor under 40 extensive. Hyundai went the extent that stamping boards with bigger wheel curves to fit the 19-incher, however held back before Brembo and Recaro units since we basically needed to top expenses, says Hyundai. But then the i30N is no stripper. Full LED lighting, electric seats, raise camera and sensors, Journey, 8.0-inch Sat-NAV furnished infotainment with Apple CarPlay/Android Auto, DAB+, double zone atmosphere control, the full SmartSense suite including AEB and path keep help, tire weight checking. And that is before you need to fork out $3,000 for the discretionary and appropriately pleasant luxury adapt. Hyundai Australia's approach to leave little uncertainty with regards to the i30N's ability in the psyches of neighborhood media included 2 days of testing. Initial, a 400 km circle over Australia's finest driving streets in the Victorian high locale, 75% of which were so tirelessly twisty that various recorders got carsick, not as travelers but rather from in the driver's seat. Added to this was an entire day at Winton Raceway, finish with a test auto fitted with the previously mentioned Pirelli Trofeo R-Track elastic and enhanced halting mods. An administration assault in full information. This wasn't the worldwide tune auto Tony had a year ago, yet an alternate Aussie tune for the nearby discharge. What's extraordinary? The worldwide case tune is stiffer, the restricted tune touched base at subsequent to testing 11 distinctive front and 9 diverse back damper set UPS and recalibrating the electronic control framework accomplishes, Hyundai says, a somewhat more supple ride, more body roll and slower enormous knock recuperation. A flexibility, at that point, to battle with potholes, hindrances and inconsistent surfaces if, Hyundai claims, a tune with unobtrusive contrasts you just recognize in consecutive correlation with an auto highlighting the worldwide tune. Around town, in normal drive mode, the N is sweet, amiable and simple to use, with an equally estimated grip pedal, a positive if comfortable nature to the gearbox, and associated if unremarkable directing. It could be a lower spec SR, put something aside for the smooth blue paintwork looking out over the hood or the brilliantly perfectly sized, luxury spec softened cowhide and calfskin trimmed pails. 2 angles promptly how straight and slack free that 202 kilowatts motor is in character, and exactly how calm advance is at a voyage. The i30N feels totally everyday driver amicable from the get-go. The ride quality fails a little on the firm side at low speed, yet hitting a modest bunch of hindrances uncovers a cleaned, might I venture to state Euro quality to the damper's knock and bounce back control. Urban turns quick, streaming nation streets, knotty and coarse chip, and there's plentiful comfortable detachment from the earth, least breeze commotion and a detectable if quieted drone from those bespoke spec Pirelli P0s that are of a portion mediocre 235mm 35 arrangement estimate. In normal, the motor/suspension/guiding alignments are pleasantly adjusted instead of limp you push on, and there's sufficient engagement and general feeling of association. In any case, the compulsion to flip through, echo, normal and sport. To sport on the light blue drive mode catch, left half of the controlling wheel, come soon enough, which amps up the alignment of motor, rev coordinating, which has a different one-touch off catch, ELSD, fumes, suspension and directing frameworks however leaves ESP in ordinary mode. The impact on honing throttle reaction and elevating the soundtrack by means of the fumes variable folds and an electronic sound generator at the base of the windscreen is obvious. The change in different frameworks is considerably more unpretentious. There's no dreadful spikiness to sport, no light switch change in character, only an additional sheen of deliberateness without looting all-round adaptability that is cheerful be it around town or once the thin snow-capped streets carry pounded advance with a tireless arrangement of corners. It takes just a modest bunch of second and third adapt swings to start wondering about the exactness, the point, and sheer hold of the i30N. What's more, it takes numerous more corners, together with more profound duty and some psychological alignment from the driver, to touch base at the purpose of understeer. While these Pirellis and in reality the skeleton works them for all their value mightn't awe such a great amount on a dusty go-kart track in Alborz's grasp, crosswise over dry B street hot mix, naughty or not, the grandiose level of street holding is striking. The same can be said for the measure of corner leave drive managed by the ELSD, where you feel the torque snack over the front hub if exhibiting little in method for real torque steer. It genuinely rockets out of bends, the overboosted 378 Nm dragging 1.5 huge amounts of Hyundai out of the mid-corner and heaving it toward the following corner to swarm the arm hairs. We haven't enacted N mode, adequately Sport Plus, and you as of now sense, via seat of the jeans, the i30N left the circle of any hot bring forth equal around the $40K something mark and is setting out toward the hot pace stratosphere. It's asserted that migrating the electric power controlling from the segment, a la i30, to the directing rack enhances the vibe for the street, something hard to qualify from in the driver's seat however. In disconnection, the i30N guiding is brilliant, no heavyweight, nothing prominently counterfeit, simply cordial exactness and accuracy. It has 3 settings, normal, sport, sport plus. There are shades of distinction amongst them and none are difficult to utilize or unconvincing in feel. To the default ESP adjustment, which seldom tolls in even once the red fog drops like a haze. However, what truly sparkles brilliantly is the damper control or, all the more precisely, the constantly factor alignment of each of the 3 suspension modes once you're conveying huge speed crosswise over not as much as flawless surfaces. The ride and taking care of mix is once in a while shy of splendid. Scarcely any brandishing autos at any cost have a sport and or race mode that is certifiably on-street usable, not to mention road benevolent. Yet, the i30N is one of them. It lifts the motivation behind each framework bar the ELSD, which stays in sport tune, and, consolidated, it lights genuine fire under procedures without violating levels of balance and collaboration requested for lively byway utilize. With in-dash move lights enticing you nearer and nearer to the rev limiter, the rev coordinating set to its most quick fire state, and the fumes breaking like a catch drum at each slight throttle lift, the air the i30N makes proposes it'll keep running with harder center hot lids asking significantly more cash. What's more, it has all the on-street pace to go down the display. The i30N doesn't have a terrible mode. And keeping in mind that N Custom permits 1944 distinct blends of settings, it's maybe just helpful in segregating what you don't care for in landing at maybe a couple mixes that you do. In the warmth of fight, I had my CO driver change diverse powertrain and body settings for me as a methods for correlation, yet honestly the normal, sport and N mode groups are so all around arranged and usable, I ask why you'd considerably waste time with N Custom? Perky. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Its last part is very benevolent, with loads of grasp and minimal horizontal development. It works the front somewhat harder than the back, however with so much grasp and corner leave earnestness, any propensity to get somewhat free would simply hose procedures. Or then again, maybe, rise once you snatch its scruff on track. It's regular for rocket ships on street to begin to feel a little underpowered, under-chassied and underheld once you put them on a course. This is valid for the i30N. It's perfectly able when flung around a circuit on a flat-out mission. However, the blend of the all-encompassing dynamic character and the street-going Pirellis appears more laser-concentrated at the on-road undertaking than it does taken off it. It becomes more energetic, more energized and more receptive to guiding by throttle on track. However, those Pirellis don't exactly have the chomp to go pursuing down 911s at your next club day. You don't need to be excessively clean with the i30N. It's exceptionally controllable and extremely lenient. However, you do need to be prudent and perfect while accelerating an appropriately quick lap time. Brakes. All through 2 days of outright beating they stayed effective, tried and true and solid. However, they got a little whiffy on the nose subsequent to hammering out a 10 continuous lap marathon. To put it plainly, the brakes surely outlived the street-going Pirellis in the companionship division. The grippy Track Spectra FIO-R tires have a major effect. Just about 3 seconds of a lap in the hands of my old mate and Hyundai test pilot Brendan Reeves, who timed an informal best of 139.9 in the mod i30N with movement. And keeping in mind that I'm certain your cousin's Skyline may make a joke of such a lap of Winton, recollect, this is a $40,000 showroom prospect with full manufacturing plant guarantee even on the track accommodating elastic. What's more, that is extremely the core of what makes the i30N such a convincing prospect. It punches far higher than its sticker price proposes. Furthermore, it ought to outpunch anything out there for comparable cash. The gut feel, as well, is that to gauge the i30N on sheer pace or the aggregate of its parts is underselling a gadget that us profoundly with how all-around arranged it is at how well its parts meet up, paying little heed to pace. Will the i30N change the hot incubate diversion? Will it constrain all the more effective Golf GTIs from Volkswagen, or more moderate Civic Type Rs from Honda? We won't get a more precise measure until the point when we test the newcomer with the standard and bizarre suspects, obviously. Be that as it may, until at that point, our recommendation isn't to set out your well-deserved for any hot incubate out there without giving Hyundai's amazing new Corona Auto an extremely close look.